Hi, and welcome to today's Daily Chronicle. Today is Friday, May 9th, 2025. Who is the new Pope Leo XIV, and what are his views? Pope Leo XIV greets the public for the first time from the main balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. About 1.4 billion Catholics worldwide have a new spiritual leader, Pope Leo XIV. The election of Robert Francis Prevost, who chose the name Leo XIV as the 267th leader of the Roman Catholic Church, marks two historic firsts. Leo is the first ever U.S.-born pope to lead the church and the first pope from the Augustinian order. On Thursday, the new pope appeared on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica and delivered a short speech. His opening words were, "Peace be with all of you." The 69-year-old pontiff added that he wanted his message of peace to enter your hearts, reach your families and all people, wherever they are. During his address, he spoke in Italian, Spanish, and Latin. The new pope thanked his fellow cardinals for selecting him. He also expressed gratitude to his former diocese in Peru and spoke warmly of Pope Francis, his late predecessor, before ending his remarks with a prayer. Social media sheds light on the new pope's belief system. Leo is known to share some of the same priorities as Francis, particularly when it comes to the environment and outreach to migrants and the poor. According to the College of Cardinals report, a resource created by a team of Vatican journalists. On his X account, Leo has recently posted and reposted content critical of President Trump's immigration approach and of Vice President J.D. Vance's views on religion. He also shared messages in support of vaccination during the COVID-19 pandemic and the Black Lives Matter protests in the aftermath of the killing of George Floyd. We need to hear more from leaders in the church to reject racism and seek justice, he said in a 2020 tweet. Pope Leo's background. The new pope was born in Chicago in 1955, according to Vatican News. His father is of French and Italian descent, while his mother is of Spanish descent. Leo studied at the minor seminary of the Augustinian Fathers. He went on to attend Villanova University in Pennsylvania, where he received a degree in mathematics. He later pursued his theological education at the Catholic Theological Union in Chicago. Although the new pontiff is American, one of the most significant chapters of ministry took place in Peru. Prevost served there for roughly 2 decades. He was appointed as a bishop of Chiclayo in 2014, promoted to archbishop in 2023, and then cardinal the following year. Over the course of his career, he has also taught canon law, patristics, and moral law. Reverend Robert Hagan, prior provincial of the province of St. Thomas of Villanova, told NPR's All Things Considered that he was a student when he met Pope Leo over dinner. Hagan said that back then he could tell that Leo embodied the core value of the Augustinian fathers: friendship. "We are speechless," Hagan said. "We really are. We're overjoyed." When he appeared on that balcony, it was like seeing a family member step up, and we're just so happy. Not just for him, but for the world. RFK Jr. says autism database will use Medicare and Medicaid info. NIH Director Janta Left and Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. speak before a news conference at the Health and Human Services Department on April 22nd. The National Institutes of Health will use information from federal health insurance programs, Medicare, and Medicaid to create a real-world data platform to determine the cause of autism. The agency announced this week. The Department of Health and Human Services said in a statement on Wednesday that the NIH would team up with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, to create the database utilizing insurance from wearable services with health sensors, like smartwatches. We're using this partnership to uncover the root causes of autism and other chronic diseases. We're using this partnership to uncover the root causes of autism and other chronic diseases, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said in a statement. HHS said that CMS and NIH would establish a data use agreement focused on Medicare and Medicaid enrollees, about 36% of Americans, and follow autism diagnosis before expanding their research into additional chronic health conditions. Using ASD, autistic spectrum disorders, as the pilot research program, teams at CMS and NIH will establish a secure tech-enabled mechanism to enhance this data sharing with timely, privacy, and security complaint data exchange, the statement read. There was an outrage last month after an NIH director, Jay, told his staff of plans to compile a database of Americans with autism using private data that could be used to create a national autism registry. Unnamed HHS sources told multiple news outlets that the agencies are not creating an autism registry, and described the effort instead as a real-world data platform linking existing data sets. NPR has not independently confirmed the reporting. The Wednesday statement, NIHJ said that the partnership with CMS was an important step in our commitment to unlocking the power of real-world data to inform public health decisions and improve lives. Linking CMS claims data with the real-world NIH data platform, fully compliant with privacy and security laws, will unlock landmark research into the complex factors that drive autism and chronic disease, ultimately delivering superior health outcomes to the Americans we serve, he said. NPR has reached out to HHS, NIHS, and CMS, but none responded to requests for comment before publication of this story. The latest details immediately raised more alarm bells for the autistic community and privacy experts, who questioned how this data would be used and how patient-sensitive data would be protected. Helen Tager-Flusberg is the director of the Center for Autism Research at Boston University and the leader of the Coalition of Autism Scientists, an organization formed in response to Kennedy's widely debunked views on autism. She warned of the potential for information collected on this database to be abused. CMS data includes certain information about individuals: age, date of birth, sex, where they live. It is possible to identify a person based on knowledge about these characteristics, Tager-Flusberg said in an email to NPR. While the NIH director provides assurance that privacy protections will be put in place, we have seen other examples of how this administration has given permission to identify people to certain people working for the federal government. How will this registry be protected, she asks. The heightened public focus on autism comes as Kennedy has repeatedly vowed to identify the cause of the disorder and ultimately eradicate it. To that end, Kennedy, a former environmental lawyer, has made a number of baseless conspiratorial claims about autism, including that it can be traced back to childhood vaccinations and that an environmental toxin is to blame for the uptick in autism diagnosis over the years. He described autism as a preventable disease and said his agency would find the root cause of the disorder by September. The notion that vaccines cause autism has been thoroughly debunked in medical science, and experts say there is likely no single cause for autism. Jay, the NIH director, pushed back on the September deadline to find a cause and said that a year timeline was more realistic. And while the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention report did find that autism prevalence in the United States has increased from 1 in 36 children 5 years ago to 1 in 31 children in 2022, it's more likely that this is due, in large part, of more comprehensive screening across a broader population. Americans are already seeing Trump's tariffs kick in. They sent in receipts to prove it. Kimberly Drennan, CEO and co-founder of Colorado company Hive Tech Solutions, checking on her bees in Boulder. Lots of new tariffs have already gone into effect, and more are about to come online. There is the tax on auto parts that kicked in this month, duties on steel and aluminum, new levies on small value packages, 10% on most imports, a flat 145% customs fee on anything from China, and potentially even more coming. Given other tariffs of dozens of countries were paused until at least July. Some of the increased cost is being eaten by exporters in other countries. But a lot is being picked up by the Americans. NPR asked listeners and readers to send us copies of receipts that break out the higher costs from tariffs. We heard back from dozens of people. Here's what we got. She paid more than double the original price for her wheelchair. Sandy Alonso really needed to replace her wheelchair. It's 10 years old, Alonso said. Pieces are starting to break. Alonso liked the model she already had, a chair that is light enough for her to load into the car herself. It is made in China, and she is not aware of any other North American distributor who has it. So she found a freight forwarder in Canada who could ship the wheelchair to her in Tampa, Florida, where she lives. When Alonso placed the order in early March, she found she would have to pay 20% tariffs on the chair, which was certainly workable though. Not great, she says. But President Trump imposed more tariffs within weeks. And by the time the wheelchair arrived in Canada via China and crossed the border into the U.S., Alonso was facing steeper tariffs of 145%. By then, it was too late to send it back. The total cost of her wheelchair was close to $6,000, of which nearly $3,500 was for tariffs alone. I'm just sitting here going, wow, I can't believe I paid this much for this chair. She laughed in disbelief. Some small businesses are showing customers what extra tariffs cost. Alter Ego Comics, a family-run business in Ohio, shared a receipt pictured on the left that shows the breakdown for tariffs. On the right, a screenshot of the before and after tariffs pricing page on the website of Hive Tech Solutions, a Colorado company that makes large refrigerated container boxes for beekeepers or for farmers. The 20-inch barn box price, the pre-tariff is $19,800 before any shipping or delivery, and the post-tariff is $32,900. And the 16-inch barn box price, the pre-tariff is $17,800. The post-tariff is $30,900. Small businesses also sent in screenshots of their new prices to NPR. Some of them have chosen to be upfront with their customers about why they have hiked prices after global tariffs hit and are disclosing how much of the cost they are passing on. We're a small company that has gotten to where we are by people investing in us, trusting in us, says Kimberly Drennan, the CEO of Hive Tech Solutions, a Colorado company that makes large refrigerated container boxes for beekeepers and for farmers to keep their harvests fresh. As a startup, the company works on slim margins already, she says. Jordan shared a screenshot showing how the starting price of one of her company's boxes has shot up from $17,000 to more than $30,000 for shipments from China now. She's also shared this on her website and at a business conference. Sharing these prices with her customers was a choice. The Trump administration criticized Amazon when it was reported that one of the units of the e-commerce giant was considering listing the cost of the tariffs. Amazon has since said it will not list those costs. But Jordan says she wanted to be transparent with customers about the startup's profit margins and their hike in costs. They really thought that, China's going to pay this. It doesn't matter to us because, China's going to pay this tariff. We were like, no, that's not how tariffs work. It's really a tax on us. Some regular store shoppers feel the same way. Jerry Jariskin noticed her local grocery store in Ithaca, New York, posted a notice for customers that bananas from Costa Rica are costing 10% more because of the tariffs. I always think that being honest with your clientele, your customers, is really the best way to go instead of being sneaky about it. Triskin says, personally, I would like to know. Will his suppliers remain in business by the end of the year? He wonders. President Trump has argued tariffs to protect American businesses, offset foreign-made goods that are uncompetitively cheap, and incentivize manufacturers to set up shop inside the U.S. But some business owners say the constant tariff changes have hurt their bottom line. They include Mark Bowker, who says tariffs impact how much money he can make. My profit went from 30% to 16% in a matter of days, says Bowker, the owner of Alter Ego Comics, a family-run business in Ohio. That is because his Chinese manufacturer, who makes his collector figurines, is absorbing most but not all of the costs of the 145% U.S. tariffs. Bowker still faces higher costs and has chosen to absorb about 2/3 of that. But he's taking his longtime customers to pay 6% more, even after taking a cut in profits. His business also publishes comic books, which are printed in Canada, which could be facing more tariffs from the U.S. Bowker says that the U.S. alternatives for printing and manufacturing, he would need months, maybe years for suppliers to explore relocating to the U.S. Like most small businesses, he cannot afford to wait that long. It's almost time for us to start ordering for the holiday season. And I have no idea how to do that this year. I don't want to pay significantly more. I don't want to have to pay too much product on my shelves, he says. With the impact of the tariffs hitting everyone's bottom line, he wonders if his suppliers in China or Canada might still be in business by the end of this year.